Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students of class metric. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about one of the beautiful and meaningful poems of your syllabus, that is Casabianca. Actually, the poem Casabianca commemorates an actual incident that occurred in 1798 during the Battle of Neil, which was a major naval battle fought between the British Royal Navy and the Navy of the French Republic. Casabianca is the name of a boy who was an obedient and brave boy, and he always followed the instructions and commandments of his father. Gentlemen, I'll also discuss with you in detail about the poem, but before doing that, let me also apprise you about the life of the poetess Felicia Dorothea Hammonds. The author of this wonderful poem, Casabianca, is Felicia Dorothea Hammonds. She was an English poetess. She was born on September 25, 1793 at Liverpool, United Kingdom. The birthplace of Felicia Dorothea Hemings was the Liverpool. Liverpool basically is the city in northwest England. When she was 7, her family shifted to Wales. Felicia Dorothea Hemings, when she became 7 years old, her family migrated to Wales, where she spent her youth. The days of her youth were spent by her at Wales. Wales is a country that is the part of United Kingdom. Felicia Dorothea Hemmings was blessed with quick mind and fine memory. Her mind was extremely quick. She was sharp minded and her memory was wonderful. Her memory was very sharp. She was able to remember the things easily and properly. Gentlemen cadets, by going through the literary works of the Felicia Dorothea Hemans, we get the lesson of enthusiasm, bravery, heroism, and she has always stressed about the moral, ethical values in her literary work. In this poem, you will also come to know about the lesson of chivalry, bravery, and heroism by knowing the story of the brave and obedient boy Casabianca. Actually, Casabianca was a small boy. He was very brave and sharp boy. He was the son of the commander of warship. The father of Casabianca was the chieftain of the battleship who himself was very brave person. One day, the chieftain commander, the father of the Casabianca, took part in the battle of Nil. He, along with him, took his son. When the battle was going on, he ordered his son to stand on the deck of the ship. Gentlemen, when the war started, when the battle started, the chieftain ordered his son Casabianca not to leave the place and stand on the deck, and he must not leave his place without the instructions and commandment of his father. Unfortunately, the brave father, the chieftain of the ship, lost his life in action. During the war, the commander was martyred. He lost his life, and the ship caught fire, and everyone fled to save life. But Casabianca did not. leave his place and stood on the deck. Gradually, slowly, the entire ship caught fire, and everyone, the people who were there during the war, they tried to flee from there. They tried to run away in order to save their life. But the brave boy, the obedient boy Casabianca, did not leave his place because he was commanded by his father not to leave the place and stand on the deck. So that is why he did not leave his place because he was following the instructions of his father which were given to him. He was a brave and obedient, so he did not leave his position without the order of his father. And at last, he sacrificed his life in order to set an example of courage and obedience. So, gentlemen, it is very necessary to know, it is very important to understand that why Casabianca did not leave his place. He could leave his place without the order of his father. But the main idea, the theme of the poem which the poetess wants to discuss with us, that Casabianca did not leave his place and sacrifice his life because he wanted to set an example of courage and obedience. So, gentlemen, what lesson we get from the poem, that we have to be also very obedient to our parents. Our parents always instruct us, so it is our prime responsibility to follow their instructions and obey them always. That is basically the main theme of the poem. Now, gentlemen, let us read the stanzas of the poem. In today's lecture, we'll cover few stanzas, and the rest of the stanzas will be covered in the next lecture. Stanza number one is: the boy stood on the burning deck whence all but he had fled. The flame that lit the battle's wreck shone round him over the dead. The reference of this poem is: these lines have been taken from the poem Casabianca, which is written by Felicia Dorothea Hemans. These wonderful lines are taken from the meaningful poem Casabianca, and the author of this wonderful poem is Felicia Dorothea Hemans. And the context of the poem is: gentlemen, context basically is the central idea or theme of the poem. So, in this poem, poetess conveys the message of bravery, sacrifice, responsibility, patriotism, and discipline through the story of Casabianca. So, what we learn from the poem? We learn about the message of bravery, dare, sacrifice, responsibility. Now, how we learn the lesson of bravery? Because Casabianca showed bravery. How he did show the bravery? Because he did not leave the position where he was ordered by his father to stand. Though he sacrificed his life, but he did not leave his place. In this poem, we also learn the lesson of responsibility, that how responsible Casabianca was, how dutiful he was. He followed all the instructions, he fulfilled all the instructions of his father. We also learn the lesson of patriotism and discipline through the story of Casabianca. The father of Casabianca showed love with his country, and he also showed discipline. Casabianca also showed the discipline because he maintained discipline and he fulfilled the instructions of his father. So in this stanza, the poetess tells that the brave boy Casabianca was standing on the board of the ship. Board of the ship is the deck where he was standing. The deck of the ship caught fire. He was standing alone. He was alone there, while all others had left the ship. Different other people were there. Everyone left the place, but Casabianca did not leave the place. Why he did not leave the place? Because he was instructed by his father not to leave the place. That's why he showed bravery and did not leave his place. The flames were shining over dead bodies, the people who lost their life. The flames were shining over them. The bodies of the soldiers were there, the soldiers who were martyred in the battle. So the flames were shining over them. So the scene was extremely dangerous, horrible. But the boy was very brave and he was standing there alone and he did not run away but kept standing there just only because of the commandment of his father. Let me also discuss with you the meaning of the stanza in Urdu, gentlemen, as you people can easily understand about the stanza. The boy stood on the burning deck. वो जो जलता हुआ अर्श जहाज था, बच्चा उस पर खड़ा रहा. वो जो बहादुर बच्चा था कासा बयान का, वो वहां खड़ा रहा. वेंसाल बट ही हैड फ्लेड. सब लोग वहां से भाग गए थे लेकिन वो वहां खड़ा रहा, उसने अपनी जगह नहीं छोड़ी. द फ्लैम दैट लिट द बैटल्स रेक. वो जो शोले थे आग के, वो बढ़ते हुए गए, उन्होंने जला दिया था जहाज का जो सामान था, जहाज की जो मुख्तलिफ जगहें थी, जो डैमेज्ड मटेरियल था, उस सब चीज़ों को उसने जला दिया था. वो जो आग के शोले थे वो भड़क रहे थे. शोन राउंड हिम ओवर द डेड. और जो बंदे वहाँ जंग में हिस्सा ले रहे थे, जो वहाँ थे, उनके ऊपर वो जो फ्लेम्स थे वो चमक रहे थे, उन सब के ऊपर. Then the next stanza is, yet beautiful and bright he stood, as born to rule the storm, a creature of heroic blood, a proud, true, childlike form. In this stanza, the poetess says that the boy stood on the board of the ship in spite of burning flames. Burning flames were there. The scene was extremely horrible. Despite the boy kept standing there and did not leave his place. He looked very bold in the light of these flames. In those flames, he was looking very bold. It seemed that he was born to govern over a storm. It seems that he was born to govern over a storm. He had inherited nobility from his forefathers. Now, why he was standing there? Why he was not afraid of the flames? Because the quality of bravery was inherited from his forefathers. His forefathers, his ancestors were extremely brave and bold people, and the boy had also inherited the quality of nobility, the quality of the bravery from his forefathers. That's why he was not afraid of the flames, he was not afraid of the dangerous scene there. Though he was of tender age, though he was a young boy, he was an innocent boy, despite he looked brave and proud to carry out the command of his father. In spite of all, the boy was looking very proud and brave, and he was trying his level best to fulfill the commandments of his father. So, what were the commandments and instructions which were given to him? That not to leave the place without the order of his father. So, gentlemen, uh, it is all about today's lecture. In our coming lecture, we'll explain and elaborate the rest of the stanzas. Thank you so much.